I was just talking to Bryan Parker, and he's going to be joining us soon and talking to us about adverse possession. And I was about to say, he's the king of adverse possession. And then I go, oh my gosh, I totally remembered. I got in a car accident, you guys, but I have good news. I wanted to mention something about, when they put your car in the tow yard and you have to go and get it. I asked them a question. Do they have a salvage contract? And they said, no, they don't. And I go, oh, okay, well, then you can release my vehicle. And the cops, they wanted to put like a $200 fee on there. They're saying, it's not registered, you're an unlicensed driver, blah, 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 blah. And I go, well, that is junk. It's totally, what's the word? Totaled. I got all these bruises and stuff. They're bad. Bruises everywhere. Hurts. Feeling better. Epsom salt baths, it helps. But I wanted to say that when I told him, I said, that car is never going to hit the road again, ever. It's not going to drive. They hung up, they called me back and they go, oh yeah, by the way, it's not going to be any charge. So it wasn't any charge and I was able to go and it's zero fees. Where is it? See, it was going to be 200 and it's zero fees. So just thought I would show you if you can even read that. I don't know. Let me find Bryan and see where he is. So we could talk about adverse possession. Where is he? Where are you, Bryan? I might have to get him a little thing. Hang on a second. Okay. All right. So we found Bryan. Here he is. Hey, so you were talking about adverse possession. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you're asking about adverse possession. And I think I've actually got something posted on my YouTube channel about that. And my YouTube channel is Bryan Parker Tactical Sovereignty. I mean, come on, what else would it be, right?
BRYAN.
Yeah, adverse possession.
Okay. Is it tactical sovereignty or is it Bryan Parker with a Y in there? Is it all that?
It's Bryan Parker with a Y.
Okay. Just thought I would mention that.
Tactical sovereignty. I think that's the full name of the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. I know I'm following.
But yeah, I think I've got something about adverse possession in there. If not, I'll tell you what, hold on right now. I will go into our chat.
Okay.
And I will post a link. Paste, send. There we go. There is the link in the chat. I don't know if you want to put that like in the description box or if you do a video on this.
Oh, okay.
All right, but that's where we went deep in depth on what adverse possession is really about, because a lot of people think that it's like being a squatter and crapping in the corner of the room, and that's not what it is whatsoever. Adverse possession is something that the state counties love. They love people to do adverse possession.
Oh, really?
Because it lifts a lot of the burden off from the county. Because eventually what ends up happening, whether it's a tax sale or a mortgage sale or whatever, depending on the state, it might go to the county steps where they have an auction, things like that. Sometimes now it's being done online, but these are all things we have to realize. There's people within the courthouse that actually have to physically do these things and make these things occur and happen. And this is energy they have to expel, and they would prefer not to expel that energy. So if you will walk into the clerk of courts, or I guess nowadays you might have to do it online, but if you can go into the clerk of courts and specifically what's preferred really is a tax situation, and you go in and take care of previous taxes and liens,
Oh,
they love you, and they will give you what's called a tax certificate.
oh,
And that tax certificate, with the release of the taxes, that tax certificate is your ownership over the property. Okay.
hmm,
And now, if people go to the link that I provided and listen to the discussion that I had with the situation, because I looked into it very in depth. I've looked into it in depth for a few years. And I don't really like getting people's word on things or people saying or claiming different things. I prefer actionable information and people who say, I've done this, this is how I did it, this is how it works.
mm-hmm.
And I was even provided the book on it. I might be one of only two people that actually hold this book. But in this book for the state of Florida, I have all of the documents, everything that's needed in order to freaking take over a property. And when I looked at this and spoke with them, I went into what are all the little problems that could come around? What issues might arise that could basically kind of screw you over? You know what I mean? By
Mm-hmm.
doing this.
Like the owners could come home off
So,
vacation.
well, exactly. So, okay, so let me describe a scenario to you. Here's a scenario. This is probably the most common scenario. Um, Grandpa dies. All right. Grandma and grandpa had moved to Florida from Connecticut 15 years ago. Grandpa dies. And just as the case with lovebirds, grandma dies soon afterwards. All right.
Mhm.
Because without their mate, they have no purpose to continue. Right. So, what will typically happen, they came down, they bought the place free and clear. They were solvent, they had money, and the courts will go and notify their next of kin. Hey, there's taxes owed,
Mm.
you know, and a lot of times the next of kin say there's only one daughter or a daughter and a son. Well, if they've gone on, they've built careers of their own. Who knows what the relationship was with their maternal or paternal parentage. So they might not even give a crap. And, you know, they may have moved to Utah, Arizona, whatever. They don't want to come back to California or come back to Florida to try and resolve this issue. They're just going to ignore it and let it go. This is what typically happens. So the courts sit on it. The state sits on it. The county sits on it for a year, sometimes two at the max. It's becoming shorter and shorter now with the way things are going economically. They're starting to try and sell these places off a little sooner, but they have to sit on them for a period of time. Okay. So what you're doing through adverse possession is you're going into the court prior to any tax sale, anything like that. And you're saying, you know what? I'm going to satisfy the tax if the county has placed liens or whatever on the property because they've had to mow the grass, take care of garbage, whatever the case may be, then you are going to satisfy those liens. And a lot of the time when you go in to satisfy the tax, the state is so happy that you are doing that that they might even release a lot of those liens that are on there. So if a property, I'll say a typical property from what I know of owning property on Florida, I had, say for instance, place was a corner lot, duplex, a lot and a half at least. Plus it had a lot of land attached to it that was unclaimed. And the taxes were around $650 a year, $650 a year. A larger, more upscale house, you might be looking at taxes of $1,200, $1,500 a year. Okay. So if a place has been kind of sitting unoccupied for a couple years, you might have at the max, let's say $3,000. All right. Now let's do some math. If you want to rent a home, I know California started the trend where when you went in to rent a house, you had to pay what they
Double.
called first, last, last, and last. First month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit that equaled 2 months' rent. That's your last and last. Okay. So by the time you get done, you're looking at $6,000, $6,500 to move into a home. All right. And that's rental. That's only the rent. Come on. All right. So when you're looking at adverse possession, you are looking at a max of maybe $3,000 to go into a property. Now, okay, now what you want to do when you go into this property, because people are going to think, okay, what happens if that daughter from Arizona comes back or the son from Utah falls out in his relationship? The woman gets his house. He's like, where am I going to live? Oh, mom and dad had a home in Florida. I'm going to go back and reclaim that. And so he jets back down to Florida. And guess what? Now he's met with a civil matter. He comes to the property and wants to reclaim the property. Of course, police are called and police will say to him, this is now a civil matter. The courts will decide this. So what happens? Here's what happens. You will go to court and the judge will make a decision as to whether he has a right to the property or not. And you know what? The administrator of the court, i.e. the judge, will agree that yes, he does have a right to the property because it did belong, to his paternal line. It belonged to his father. Right. But there's a caveat to this. All right. And at this caveat, I'm going to digress just a little. After you've taken possession of this property, you've got to mow the lawn every week. Well, what is the current rate in the neighborhood to get your lawn mowed? Is it $125 a week? Okay, fine. You have a logbook. My dad taught me one thing that was very important. And he said, document, document, document. You have to document everything you do. And the same falls in line with this. So what you do is every time that you have to mow the lawn, you write in your logbook that you mowed the lawn. It's $125. Oh, wait, did you own a lawnmower before you freaking purchased this property? No. You had to buy a lawnmower. So this lawnmower costs you $850. That goes into your logbook. That's an expense. Did you pay to keep the electricity on every month? Otherwise, that place would have fallen apart without electricity, correct? So you write down the electrical bills every month. You document it. Was there upkeep that needed to be done? Did you need to redo flower beds? All of these things, you document them. And that goes in the logbook. So let's go back to where we were in court with the son from Utah who lost his relationship, thinks he's going to go back to mommy and daddy's house. What is the judge going to say? Absolutely. You have a right to that property. However, this is where that word equity comes in that everybody talks about.
What equity?
This is where your equity is at. Not just your sweat equity, your investment. Your investment is your equity.
Mhm.
And the judge is going to say there has been equity put into this property of what could it be? How long has it been that you've been sitting on this property, taking care of it, not paying rent, only paying, $7, $8, $1,100 a year
Mm.
in taxes? That's been your only payment. So you've switched from having monthly rental payments of, $900 a month to now, over a course of a year, it may only cost you $60 or $70 a month to live there in order to contribute towards the taxes that are due at the end of the year. Okay. The judge is going to go and say to him, fine, yes, you do have a claim to this property, and that's totally correct. However, these people have put in equity into this property monetarily, and here is the list of their expenses. And so therefore, it looks like you're going to owe them $85,000 for you to take over the property. Now, if you can pony up $85,000 for what they invested into this property, absolutely, it's yours.
Yikes.
Guess what? He doesn't have that. This isn't the quick and easy thing he thought it would be. And he's going to walk away.
Mm.
It's that simple.
Wow. Hey, I have a question.
So, all right.
Okay, so what about ad valorem tax? You know how I had heard that when you're in real estate, that you're doing it for a business to make money, and that's commerce, and the ad valorem tax is for being in the business of real estate. But what if you're not in real estate business? Can't you be taken off that tax roll and not have to pay those types of taxes? Or even if you had children or not had
No,
children and don't pay for the mellow.
right. You're not right. You're not participating in commerce here. Because, and here's the thing, it depends on where you live at. I think California for adverse possession, gosh, might be 15 years, I think. Florida is 7 years. I've seen states, hold on a minute. I've got a kitty that wants to interact with us.
What did you name your kitty cat, by the way?
All right.
Mr. Ed.
Kitty. I just told you, Kitty.
Oh, okay.
No, Kitty. She's just Kitty. Anyway, yeah, there's different lengths of time for different states. You know what I mean? And at the end of that period of time, you've got the property free and clear. And the situation is that because this is not a commercial activity, all right? And so therefore, you can personally only legally do this to one property at a time.
You have to be living in
You
it?
can't go and pick up a property. You have to be living there. Now, the same goes in real estate when you purchase properties, when you are supposed to be the resident there. And you're supposed to be only able to do that like with one property. I've seen people that do it up to 10 properties. I've done it with more than one residence myself. You know what I mean? So,
What?
but I'm not showing anybody how to do anything.
Are you saying that you're a snowbird and you claim a couple of different places that you live as your primary residence?
Well, not as a snowbird, but yeah, you can claim You can claim multiple places as a primary residence and nobody checks on it. They really don't. But I'm not trying to encourage people
Mm.
into moving into an area of real estate that would be considered illegal. All right. Just do it on the straight up and up. That way you can go to sleep at night, put your head on the pillow and rest peacefully.
Yeah, I'm interested in
Um,
understanding more about the, you know how we get a deed and it says joint tenant on the deed. And then it's really not ours. It belongs to the county. And we're having to pay taxes on the county, you know, for the taxes. I have a timeshare in Tahoe and I just got the bill that says that they have colleges and junior highs and elementary schools and libraries. I'm like, I don't live there. It's just my vacation place. But it's kind of funny how they like to skirt the issue. They say, oh, timeshare would be your time, like airtime, radio time, not the literal land. I go, I have the land deed though. That's the thing. I'm paying on the land, the deed. So I just want to be taken off the ad valorem tax.
well, your
bill.
time. Well, your time falls under right of use, which falls under usufruct.
Mhm.
Right? Usufruct is your use of
The fruit.
anything, your use of any property.
Mhm,
The fruit of the use, exactly.
mhm.
Right. But the situation with that is that properties are really listed all as commercial. It might not appear that way, you know, it might look on their rolls like some are commercial, some are non-commercial, but at the end of the day, they're all looked at as really being commercial.
Isn't it the
And
same
so what
thing
you have
with
to do
driver's
is,
license? Isn't that the same thing?
well, that's a different issue. That's a totally different issue. But so what you have to do is get that freaking changed with the local property assessor, the local tax assessor.
Mhm.
And I'd recommend people go look up Orlando Steve for that
I tried to
here
look
in
him up.
Florida
I didn't
because he's
find
done
him.
it successfully.
Oh, I tried looking him up and I only saw an artist.
I can send you a couple links to him. I found him easily.
Oh,
Somebody told me that on a YouTube once. And so I went and looked him up and I'm like, okay, here's 2 links right here. Boom, boom. I just found him.
oh, okay. I'll post
But
it on this video. So adverse
I
possession.
had his entire playlist of information and I should have freaking downloaded it, but I didn't at the time. Oh well.
There's my little cute one. Her name is Karma. See her? Karma is a bitch.
Yep.
It's a female dog.
Yeah. Karma is definitely a bitch.
Yeah.
And that gets into equity. You know, if you do wrong to people in equity, guess what? Equity is going to come back and do harm to you because
Or it could
that's
be the
the
opposite
environment you've
too.
created.
It could be the opposite too. You can have really good intentions. Karma just basically means intentions. And isn't that funny? Our outfits today, they look a little kind of like you look like you have a Buddha or something on your, is that a Buddha on your shirt?
It's the
Elephant?
elephant, maybe
Oh,
the Shiva
and
elephant from India.
oh no, that's called Ganesh.
Oh,
Ganesh. I had to study all these religions because
Ganesh. Yeah, Ganesh.
I'm an artist. Yeah. So I was like, didn't
That's yep,
realize that
that's the
art
appropriate term.
is really about religion. It was interesting when I was taking art classes. We had to
Signs
study.
and symbols rule the world.
It's true. And it's true. And it's like memes, you know, they speak more than what? What do you want to do stuff? You want to go out? Cute. Karma wants to go. But there's coyotes where we live, so I always have to go with her. We don't want her to be anyone's dinner. But yeah, so we'll look at that Orlando Steve, and you're talking about adverse possession. That sounds great. Can they do that with your car, like at the tow place? Is that how they do adverse possession? They tow your car away and they start racking up the charges, and if you don't, pay
No,
those,
that,
charges, it's theirs. Is that the same thing?
no, it's a totally different situation because that comes to title. And everything that is titled in this world, whether you're looking at titles for your home, titles for an auto, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
titles are all done the same way because everything in this realm, like we spoke earlier before the recording about roads, everything is done under trust. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And and everything really through a trust. One of the reasons why I don't like trust is because trusts are done under split title, which means there's equitable title and there's legal title. And with autos, the state is holding the equitable title. That means they receive all the financial benefits from it. When you pay registration, insurance, renew the driver's license, whatever deals with the vehicle, they are getting the freaking money off from it because they hold equitable title. Now you hold legal title, which gives you the right to do legal things with it. You can sell it, you can dispose of it, you can salvage it, different things like that. You can do those legal things.
I noticed on
All
my
right.
title
And
for my car, because I had a head-on collision, whatever, it's my car is totaled right now and it's in that tow place, whatever. They wanted me to bring that title. And I said, this car is in a trust. I don't own it. They said, well, whose name is on the title? I said, it's the all capitalized name that's sounds like mine. And I actually do have a trust with the same exact all capitalized name that's on that. So in that little, instance, there's a little tiny minutia, maybe a little semantics there, but they were getting frustrated with me. And I said, that title, that's not my name. All capitalized, I don't spell it like that. Now, I don't know, maybe you have something to say against that, but I said, I have a trust with it just like that. And then I have the UCC one with that car in it. So the trust, the title, and the UCC one all match. But me personally, here's my secured party creditor, traveler, whatever, and it's spelled differently. So I don't know. Am I wrong? Or did I follow the wrong path? Or
well, when it comes down to it, the correct answer, and this can be done, secure party creditor, all that stuff. To me, those are kind of sidetrack things. But when they ask whose name is on the title, I would have told them because now you're on California, correct?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when they ask whose name is on the title, who is listed on the title, I would have said the state of
State of
California.
California. I know exactly. Right on the top. I have it there. It's around here somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
They list it for you. They tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a constitution. The constitution says we the people. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to argue about who the people is. Well, they just told you who the people is. It's we.
Then
It's we.
doesn't that go from that
The ones that
executive order?
created the
Is it from
the
that
ones that created the compact, and look and see who signed the compact. That shows you who we is.
Right. Because I thought I remember reading
And they said,
something about when they have the executive orders that they can make the governors the people, and the governors can make all the corporate heads the people. Yeah, isn't that right? Yeah.
well, technically, when you look at it, who the people are, the people are the heads. You're correct, and the people are the representatives and the senators. Those are who the people are. And so and I read a letter from a judge that was talking about this. When you register to vote, what you are doing is you're signing
Yes.
over a power of attorney to
Mhm.
your elected officials, representatives, senators, etc., and they are the people, and they now have power of attorney and are now speaking for you, and you have absolved yourself of any rights.
Mhm.
It's just like when you hire an attorney. When you hire an attorney, you have to sign a form that basically says that you are signing over your power to speak on your
Mhm.
behalf to another entity, to another agent, because everybody's acting in an agent capacity. People need
Yeah.
to realize that
Someone told me
everyone is
today,
an agent.
somebody told me today, why don't you just get one of those accident insure lawyers or something? Because I got an accident, I got bruises all over. They go, they're gonna get you a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I like lawyers. I don't want to like do that. They will be like hearsay. And I was there and, I mean, I'm gonna need some help on.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, let me speak to that.
Okay, cool.
If you go and hire an accident attorney, he's going to be speaking on your behalf. And people need to realize what happens when you hire an attorney. Yes, it is somebody that represents a state, represents a court, represents the bar association. Okay, we all know that from all the paycheck guru freaking guano garbage that's out there, and it's even written, in their own codes and statutes. But what is really happening when you hire an attorney is you are buying into a relationship. And so what you have to do is buy into the correct relationship. And the relationship you are buying into is the relationship that that particular attorney has with the courts. Let me give you a scenario that I experienced. I was looking at 15 years in prison. Okay. And I was sitting next to an attorney I had hired. We're sitting in the gallery, and I'm looking at what was going on in the courtroom. And I saw this guy that was talking to the bailiff. He was talking to prosecutors. He was talking to other defense attorneys. And I nudged the attorney sitting next to me. And I said, "Who is that guy?" I'm not going to give his name. He's since deceased, which was kind of weird. But he told me what his name was. And I said, "Really?" I said, "What does he do?" He said, "Well, he's a defense attorney." I said, "No kidding. That guy's a defense attorney?" Um, Let me tell you something. You're fired. And that attorney about freaking fell over. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm fired." I said, "Listen, this guy freaking knows everybody in the whole freaking courthouse. And you're sitting here like a bump on a log next to me doing nothing. You think I want you or do I want him?" I said, "I absolutely want him." And that 15-year sentence that I was freaking facing on felony charges turned into a judge yelling at me saying, "Get out of my courtroom."
Cool.
That was the end result. All right, Kitty.
I see a butt in my face.
That was a kitty butt. It was just a kitty butt.
So do you think that there's some validity then to getting an
But
accident lawyer, something? Because I really don't want to go that route. I don't like those. But I don't know. I don't want to get like,
yeah, no, there is validity to it. Just make sure you get the right one.
well, okay. So is this like if the insurance is going to give me peanuts or something, is that about the time that you go and look for? I could be looking. I mean, I don't have a car to go look, but I guess my fingers could do the walking. I don't know. I really wasn't planning on going.
Well, here's the thing.
Don't like it.
Here's the thing. My advice to anybody is if the insurance is offering you peanuts, number one, you never accept their first offer. You never accept their second offer. You never accept their third offer. I have somebody really close to me that fell for that. And there was actually a life that was lost involved in the case.
Mm,
And they grabbed the first offer. And I just shook my head thinking, what is wrong? You don't do that.
mm,
Never accept the first offer, second offer, third offer. You push them to the max.
okay. I did go to some chiropractor today, and that was interesting how he had a lot of legalese type of forms, and maybe I'll find out if he's a PMA or something, because it did seem like, he's got arbitration and, financial promissory notes and all these things. I never came across anything like that before. Maybe is this a new thing with the COVID stuff? Maybe I don't know. It was different.
No, absolutely. With all the forms he wanted you to freaking go over, just showed me that he's probably operating as a private association. And
Mm,
that's why he said, in order for you to become a client of mine, which means in order for you to become a member of our association, you
mm,
have to sign this stuff. Right. And to me, that was just beautiful evidence that, yeah, he's running his own private association, which is what most chiropractors have started doing,
wow.
especially out in California. California is
Oh
big on the
yeah, well,
medical
that
crap.
makes sense, especially
Medical medical
CDC.
wants to run the world.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, in a way, when I was looking at some of his things, it looked like could be negotiable instruments. And I was thinking, wow, somebody behind him, I don't know if it's insurance or his lawyers or somebody, it seems like they might be selling contracts or signatures or something. That's what somebody had mentioned, that their signature could be worth like thousands of dollars. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, if signatures are worth thousands, and they can be, you know, I would go around on documents and I'd scoop up all the signatures I could, and I'd be a millionaire.
Can I have
It's
you add
not really the
account?
way it works. It comes down to the contract. It comes down to the contract it's attached to.
Yeah. Well, I just ended up paying him because I didn't want to do any of those. I don't want to forfeit my constitutional rights and do arbitration or something. It was interesting. Well, thank you for being here. And I don't
I
know if
could
you
care
want to
less
talk
about.
more about your adverse or anything
No,
else.
we're good.
Yeah.
Well, we can go into adverse possession more maybe on another call if you want.
Okay.
But I posted the link to the conversation that I had with people
Okay.
who are doing it. They're doing it with their son. I've got all the documentation. I've got all the forms and everything for doing it in Florida that
Mm.
explains it. If people want to contact me, I'll forward it to them. I've never been told by anyone that I can't transfer this book to anybody else. But yeah, I'll give it to anybody because this is a way we can really start helping to kind of clean up our world a little bit.
Mm. That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being here, Brian. And I'll definitely put the talk shoe episode on this video, and we can post it in your tactical sovereignty so people hopefully can learn how to do adverse possession. You have a good night.
Hey, having a roof over your head is a big thing.
Yeah, I do have a little something over mine right now. Well, thank you so much for being here, Brian, and I appreciate all of our talks.